Good morning, everyone. Let's hang on for one more minute as people sign into the call. Hold on. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to October 6th Firm Update Call. It's Mark Hugo here covering for the operations side of this call. Today, we're going to start off with a little talk about Columbus Day, which is October 13th. U.S. banks and Federal Reserve offices will be closed. StoneX Wealth will be open on normal business hours. No ACH wire transfers, check disbursements, sweep purchases, redemption, or stop payments can be processed on October 13th with the banks and Federal Reserve closed. Checks received at the local branch should be processed and scanned as normal. Equity markets will be open and fixed income markets will be closed. I think they get every day off. And here's a reminder on the StoneX wrap program transition. The conversion occurred on October 1st. Quarterly billing will be calculated on 365 days in the actual days of the quarter as opposed to 360 days and 90 days in the quarter. So that's a small change there. Quarterly billing will post to the client accounts within the first 10 business days of the quarter instead of day 2 of the quarter. And new accounts will bill in an off-cycle file no longer the next day. Contributions to those accounts will be in an off-cycle file no longer the next day. Termination rebates will be calculated in an off-cycle file instead of real time. So important notes about the wrap program transition. For RMDs for 2025, pull your client list and ensure RMDs get processed for 2025. You go StoneX, go to Action Notices, then select Monthly RMD. Should be that easy. For Pershing, go to Items for Attention, then select Require Minimum Distribution. On advisory accounts, please notify AdvisorLink if funds need to be raised. And requests received after December 15th will be best efforts. You know, that gets really challenging with the holidays and everybody's schedule and, you know, obviously working with other companies involved too. So qualified distributions, StoneX Clearing is adding the QCD option to the IRA distribution form and service center. Any clients that had QCD distributions for the current year 2025, please provide your regional team the account number and they will review and correct the coding. So that's pretty important. If you had a qualified distribution for the current year, QCD, please make sure you contact your region. And here's other reminders. For the most updated forms, use Advisor Center. Please don't save them to your desktop. Please don't put them somewhere that you always reuse because unfortunately we do change forms and the Advisor Center is the most accurate place. Supervision does have the responsibility to reject forms that are outdated, and clearing, when they change their forms, they may not accept them either. So Advisor Center for the most updated forms. Review emails regarding miscellaneous debits. If the debits are not resolved, they are written off to your rep code. Any adjustments that are done on these will flow through the normal commission cycle. Review your missing document, restricted account, zero balance, inactive commission account list, or at least monthly. Should we do that at least monthly in StoneX Advisor? Check your service center work queue for rejections or completed items. And this is important. Accounts with new account forms missing over 30 days since the account opening date can and will lead to tax withholding in all transactions, most likely get restricted as well. Items past 60 days must be claimed on the following tax year by your client. Clearing cannot fix that. It cannot make that correction. Checks should be made payable to StoneX. Custodian is StoneX, and for Pershing, be Pershing LLC. And I think I'm going to hand this over to Brian for the compliance area for brokerage.
Thank you, Marco. So I'm going to talk about, we had a registered representative whose one of their email addresses was hacked last week, and I thought it was just a good opportunity to bring to your attention what happened, what they did to address the issue, and give you a roadmap should it happen to you, because it very well could happen to you. There's a lot of cybersecurity hacking attempts that happen out there on a daily basis. It's very easy to click on an email or as you're rushing through things, do something that compromises yourself, right? So last week, a registered representative, very good practice in our organization, had a email that they used to schedule meetings, and that email was compromised. We're not entirely sure how, but it was, and it began to send a phishing campaign out to collect information. I'm not actually even sure exactly what all that email did, but it went out to a bunch of you, probably some of you on this phone call. And what I wanted to highlight is that that the registered representative immediately took action. I think the very first response back from one of their customers is like, "Hey, I didn't send that," and began to look into it. They immediately went into mode of letting compliance and supervision know, resetting all of their passwords on their email addresses, which is a key component of it. Letting the firm get involved and perform a review of the situation. And this practice was a very large practice within an organization. So they hired legal counsel and are doing a review, in part because of their OBA activity, but also their securities activity. So again, you need to be very vigilant about email communications and what you're clicking on. You should be expecting communications, right? If they're asking for information, you should be expecting that email. If you're not expecting it, you get it, you need to confirm that it is a legitimate thing. So, I think what we'll find in this situation is this rep had MFA. They were interacting with customers. May very well find that your client or this rep's client was hacked, which sent a phishing campaign into the registered representative, and someone within his group clicked on an email which compromised that email address, which then which then it snowballs, right? So again, be very vigilant. Make sure that if you have something funky go on, that you take immediate action. If you really think that you're compromised, you need to let supervision compliance know right away. Shut down your computers, change your passwords. I mean, be very aggressive with the actions that you take to try and minimize this, because what happens is if client data is compromised, we have to notify your customer. Reg SP now requires that we notify your customer. Requires that we do regulatory reporting to a number of agencies, whether it's state or FINRA, SEC, those types of things. And to a certain extent, even if it's not our fault, it does have some reputational damage, trust damage to customers if data is lost. So be vigilant, on the cyber front. All right, next slide. Lots of things. I think we're sort of entering into the wrap up the year mode, right? FINRA regulatory CE. If you hadn't completed it, you need to do it. It's required. If you don't, by the end of the year, you'll be CE inactive as we come back up in January. So it's highly important. Quarterly attestations. Something happens 4 times a year. The new one is out for the 4th quarter. You'll find that in ComplySci. You need to complete that. annual licensing renewals, that's also out in comply. That is getting prepared for where you want to be or where you don't want to be registered in the new year. So make sure you spend some time on that. And then we are finalizing the annual compliance meetings and should have that issued out in the next week or two. So you'll find that in Quest CE. We will notify you, and that'll be the last of the annual training requirements for the year. So with that, I'll turn it over to John Calvano.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning. It's the end of a calendar quarter, quarter ending in September. And so, of course, that means it's another IAR, Investment Advisor Rep quarterly reporting and attestations cycle. Just a reminder that this broker-dealer registered rep IAR, it's combined for duly registered folks. You have 30 days to complete it. It doesn't matter how many days are in the calendar quarter. You have to get it done within 30 days. This cycle, there is actually 31 days in October, but if you were going to wait to the very end, you have to get it done by October 30. And I do really appreciate everyone who has already done it and takes care of this stuff early on so that we don't have to keep sending reminders. The system will send you a daily reminder that you haven't done this until you do it, and then all that automation stops talking to you. And September also is the end of, or the beginning of, the new fiscal year for StoneX Advisors. Trust Advisory Group, TAG, their fiscal year end is the calendar year end. So what I say for StoneX Advisors applies to TAG 3 months later. But because it's the end of our year, StoneX Advisors, we have to update our disclosure brochure, that document you're required to give to your clients that describes our services and our fees and the conflicts of interest. So we'll be getting that updated. We typically file that in December. That's when I send out your holiday reading material where you get the updated ADV. As far as your ADV 2B, your personal disclosure brochure, that there is no annual update requirement. It does need to remain current. So if something changes in your employment history or address or whatever, that stuff does have to be updated. Disclosure events like bankruptcies and stuff have to be current on there as well. Next slide, please. So wanted to talk a little bit about custody, because right now we have begun an annual custody examination. So there's a rule out there, 2064-2, that requires registered investment advisors, when they're deemed to have custody of their client assets, go through this process. It's not a fun process, but it's an audit by an outside, certified public accountant that has certain qualifications in being able to do these, what we call, surprise counts or examination of the custodian. Because of our affiliation, both TAG, who's owned by StoneX Group, and StoneX Advisors, who's owned by StoneX Group, because of our affiliation under that common ownership with StoneX Financial, the custodian to most of our accounts and assets, because of that affiliation and that common ownership, we are deemed to have custody. The RIA firms are deemed to have custody of their own client assets. And so for that reason, we have to go through this process that is a surprise, but surprise, it just began on September 30. And Warren Averett, who has done it in the past, will be doing it again this year. It's important for you all to know for a couple of reasons. One, it's a nice safety feature in our business that helps clients rest assured that their assets are safe. I know they are, but this is one of the ways the industry does this. And then you also need to know that some clients will be receiving confirmation letters as part of this process. It probably wouldn't happen until the beginning of the new year, but if it happens sooner, I'll certainly keep you guys informed. But there are letters that go out to lucky clients drawn at random that the client does need to respond back and confirm the assets in their account. Next slide, please. And then, since we're talking about custody, just wanted to go over inadvertent custody according to the same rule, and that is where you have standing letters of authorization or instruction with a custodian. You might consider it with an account, but we don't allow those at StoneX or TAG, that you have such letters with your clients where, for example, you're paying a recurring bill for the client out of an account, and it doesn't matter where the account is. It's against policy to allow for those standing letters of authorization. And the reason, in part, is because they're dangerous, but also because it then subjects that whole account scheme, wherever that is, to the custody rule. Let's say it's like the American Funds F2 program. You would now open up, we would have to go audit that firm. That would probably cost a lot of money. And then just wanted to, remind everybody why, because again, this is a safety thing and it might be good for your clients, but you can thank Bernie Madoff for the fact that we have this rule and this component of the rule, this element where there's a surprise examination where they come in and actually make sure the client assets are there. Because of those of you who know Bernie Madoff, he lied about that basically. It was the largest Ponzi scheme still, I believe, in the history of America. And then the last similar related information is related to client login information and passwords. And again, against policy here, and even just best practices and smart things, that you would not have your clients' login credentials or password for any of their accounts at StoneX or at TAG or any of the third parties we work with. And, we all acknowledge that everyone today has financial online access to brokerage and banking and other types of accounts, but your clients should never share with you, especially, but they should never share with anyone for any reason, their passwords and login, and that includes for your convenience working with them. I know you want to help your clients, or for their convenience, you trying to help. We just can't have that. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mark, supervision.
Thank you, John. Back on supervision here. This has been a hot topic. I say hot. It's interesting because it's something that you should have. Do you have a succession plan? You need one if you don't, and there are challenges you need to be aware of in how to do this. So, what are your options? An agreement with StoneX. We can create a succession plan for you with the help of our team in the home office, the private client group. We can help you with another agreement with another StoneX registered person, something like that. If you have one, make sure we have the agreement on file and we can vet it to make sure it fits within the rules, because there are rules. FINRA's got those covered and the SEC's got those covered. So, and an agreement with another person registered not at StoneX. Probably could have wrote that better, but a StoneX, if you're considering an agreement with a person not registered with the same broker dealer, that's probably the most difficult path to take. You'd have to change broker dealers, and so on. So obviously, if that's a situation where you're interested, maybe that person could join StoneX. So give us a call about that. We'd love to bring somebody in to help you out. So it's important for you to get one, get an agreement, have a succession plan. We've seen it where somebody didn't have a succession plan. It's very difficult for the clients, the beneficiaries, the spouses, whoever was left behind. It's always a challenge. So make it easy for you, make it easy for your clients, and help them out by having a succession plan. We can offer, from a StoneX standpoint, we can offer a lump sum or payments over time. For questions on this, please contact Matt Kelly. You can get him email matthew.kelly@stonex.com or call him at 859-802-1606. Moving on to a few reminders. We finished another batch of accounts that had to get KYC refreshed. They're sent out on July 29th. If they were not refreshed as of September 29th, those accounts are restricted now. So as Stephanie was saying, I was covering for earlier, check your restricted account list. You can't do anything in those once they're restricted. So please work on those. It's not something difficult. Review the account, make sure the documents are there and up to date, make sure the financials and all the information is up to date. Then you can review and complete the KYC refresh questionnaire. Correspondence must be entered into Salesforce by the 10th of the next month. So for September, Your deadline is October 10th, 2025. Please make sure you make that a priority. All direct business is submitted through the workflow in Salesforce. If you're doing a change of dealer, do a change of dealer, include the new account form and the change of dealer. It's important for us, they're a new account for us and you, so you do need a new account form. You need to know your client, so it's important for that. And as we said last month, sponsor meetings and sponsor marketing dollars are now in ComplySci using the sponsored event form. So please use that. It's on your personal ComplySci area there. So, and finally, InvestNet reviews. We've been trying to make sure that you're aware of this. So annual reviews is an SEC rule. They need to be done annually. We made some changes to InvestNet where the annual review is actually documented. It can be found under the Practice tab in the menu column for alerts and notification. It's called Client Reviews. If you click Client Reviews, it is sorted by due date. That makes it easier to track when an annual review is required. Currently, the one that's oldest that needs the annual review the most is at top. The day count for client reviews is set for 275 days. That gives you 3 months to complete the annual review within that calendar year. Since the annual review is required, there should be very few waivers for annual reviews. I hesitantly say none, but there are possibilities, so very few. Please use the client review sections to keep up with the annual review requirements. It's an SEC rule, not just ours. Also, for those of you that completed the investment policy resolution items from last month, we did not add anybody on an annual review in the soft stop list because we are still working out some of the bugs in InvestNet. So keep that in mind that, it wasn't a free pass, but if you have to document annual review and you're behind, please use that new part. And so that's important to remember. And finally, since it is October and this is it's, as Brian likes to say, Mark's fun facts. This isn't really fun, but it's kind of serious. October is National Financial Planning Month, a time dedicated to encouraging individuals to review their financial situation and set goals for the future. I know that everybody on the call, the advisors and the reps are out there helping people with their financial planning, and that's what you do. You're good people for that, so I want to thank you for that. Thank you for tuning into the call. If you have any questions or need anything, please do not hesitate to contact your region, advisor link, or supervision, and we look forward to seeing you on November 3rd. Thank you.